Hello. This week is about acceptance, going with the flow, and doing less to achieve more. If that sounds interesting to you, then this week's Pick a Card Tarot reading is right up your alley. And be sure to watch all the way to the end as I have a free gift just for you. So let's begin. Okay, so let's get this week's picks, our selections for this week. A quick shuffle here. We'll see what we have. Okay, your choices this week will be the following. First up, we have Page of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. And we have the Four of Cups. Okay, and so the way this works is you'll pick one or any of these cards that resonate with you, and then keep watching to see the reading that we pull for that pile. And please leave me a comment. Let me know what you picked, how it resonated with you, or if you have any other questions or general comments about these readings. First up, we have the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is a card of changing and evolving manifestations in our life. Some new things appearing in our life, sort of just coming to fruition. So they are still new and youthful. There is this, with the page, there's always this element of sort of youth. And also with that, sort of the instability that can come with newer things that are just sort of coming into being. But it certainly has become manifest. So this may look like some new bit of wealth, or what seems like it could be an opportunity for greater prosperity or abundance in your life. But as it first appears, it may seem a bit shaky. And so if you choose Page of Pentacles, that is clearly one of these situations that's presenting itself to you in life at this moment. This situation has sort of presented itself to you in the form of what looks like a new opportunity to start something new. This could be perhaps a job offer, or even the prospect of a new career. I sense more like a job offer, though, if it is work related. This will be coming to you or has already happened very recently. And the opportunity, it could also be an opportunity for a new investment or other business endeavor, or maybe even just some other undertaking in your life that is a significant thing. Not something that's just a trivial activity like going to a movie or something like that. It's very much a new endeavor. Might even be a new hobby or starting a book club, or it can be a lot of things. But I'm feeling a strong pull towards sort of job and career related things. This opportunity has or will really come out of the blue. So you haven't really been thinking or considering much, at least consciously, looking for this new position, but it has sort of just presented itself to you. And I sense a bit of a conflict here in that it's brought up some conflicted thoughts and feelings. And so on the surface, this opportunity may seem less than ideal. When you look at it as it's presented itself to you, the details of it, where this job is, what it might pay you, where you might need to go, or what you might have to do in order to take this opportunity. On the surface, it seems like it's not the best thing, or there's some actual legitimate concerns about it. And yet, part of you does feel pulled in this direction, at least to explore this. And so, this is the conflict. And the conflict really comes from your own sense of the need to structure and order things. We all have some degree of that within ourselves. For you, that pull and drive to create order is much more internalized and more subconscious for you than it is external or in the upper layers of your consciousness, your daily thoughts and feelings. So, in other words, if I were to ask you, how would you describe yourself in terms of, are you more of a sort of go with the flow, sort of free flowing person who generally will just sort of go along with things and not question them too greatly? And you're willing to just accept a situation and let it lead you to where it seems to want to lead you. You would say, yes, I am very much that person. And if we were acquainted and spent some time together, it would be obvious to me that, again, sort of the outward self that you project is very much that person. Deep down inside, though, there is a desire, a greater desire for a more orderly life. There are times where your willingness to just sort of take a leap has resulted in less than desirable results. And so there is this deeper sense of, I wish sometimes I could avoid doing that. Maybe you're a bit compulsive at times. I wish I had a little more discipline in some of my decision making. And so that's the conflict here, because part of you is probably sort of tired and fed up with your current situation in this job, and you're really looking to move forward into something that is more aligned and just feels better to you, sort of spiritually, in terms of your energy. So, what do we do with all that? How do we resolve this conflict? Well, you do have a profound capacity to move forward. You're certainly capable of making these leaps. And this is an important reminder, this Knight of Wands here, that while sometimes that leap forward may seem to have been the wrong decision in your life, that it wasn't always. And so really take some time and reflect. How many times in my life did it really work out when I felt like I was, again, just sort of leaping forward and just making an act of almost blind faith? And when I was really leaning into that, how many times did it work out well and did it work out poorly? Because one thing that we all struggle with as human beings is what psychology calls the negativity bias. And this is very much a survival mechanism from back when we were hunters and gatherers, and a lot of our daily survival was less guaranteed, let's say. And so the negativity bias is that we really only remember the things that go poorly. Again, a very important survival mechanism when we were fighting wild beasts and hunting things that could kill us and having to physically defend ourselves from other tribes of humans and the wild and Mother Nature. In modern society, we are very much removed from that in a direct and everyday experience. So the things we do to survive look very much more like sitting at a desk all day, filling out paperwork, bagging groceries, and for me, reading tarot cards. We're not directly fighting with things, hunting them, running, fleeing, building shelters in order to survive these mortal threats. So take time and reflect, maybe even do a little journaling, because journaling is such a simple process and it's so very effective. But really take the time and write it out so you can get a better sense of it, of what are the times that this went poorly? What were the actual outcomes? Were they really as poor as I think when I made these leaps? And what are the times where I listened to intuition, where I made what felt like a big leap and it worked out? And what are the good things that came from it? And be really honest about that. I think the more honest you are, and writing it on paper helps you be honest, when you look at the whole list and the comparison, you might find that really most of the time when you've listened to your intuition, things have worked out pretty well, sometimes even better than you expected, maybe even better than you realized in that moment when you made the choice. So that's a big piece for you here, is do that introspection. As I sense the universe is pulling you to actually take this leap. Also, as you take stock of these things, and this is also very key to this and giving you some confidence, is that know that you're not at risk of losing as much as you think you are if this does go poorly. In other words, if you go to this other job and it doesn't work out, maybe you've lost the previous job that you left. Maybe you can still go back if you've given proper notice and left on good terms. But even if you can't go back to that old job, it doesn't mean you're destitute. The Six of Swords here is a reminder of the knowledge and skills that we possess. And to some extent, we are meant to take these things and convey them to a new place or to new people sometimes. And so your true wealth and abundance and power in this situation is internal to you. It is something you innately possess through your experiences, through your skills, through your learning and growth as a human being. And so to leave this current situation is to not really leave anything behind other than the situation itself. In other words, you're not giving up wealth, abundance, and prosperity or joy in your life by moving on from here. So be confident in knowing that you will retain all of the greatness and good things that you have, even if you take this leap. And I hope that gives you some guidance this week if you chose the Page of Pentacles. Your second choice this week was the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is someone who is deeply aligned with their intuition, with the divine feminine. And for them, this manifests in a potent ability to create and manifest important things in their lives. And more importantly, their power, their strength, comes from doing this in a very aligned way, in a way that is connected to our intuition. And so from the outside, it may look even a bit disorderly. One of the pitfalls or complications that you can run into with Queen of Wands, with this energy in your life, is sometimes being a little too passionate, maybe acting a bit hastily, and being a bit impatient. So for you this week, if you chose Queen of Wands, there is this sense from Spirit that perhaps you're struggling a bit with some impatience, or that will begin to creep in. And so it's a little bit related to our first reading a bit, but in the sense that you are a fiery, passionate person. You're someone who doesn't get bogged down in a lot of details and overthinking in things. And you've either begun or are about to begin a new phase in your life. So unlike our first reading, this is a situation where maybe you've already started this new job or started this new project or begun a new business and you've been into it for a while. And it seemed chaotic. You haven't exactly seen the results that you're looking for. And so maybe that impatience is really starting to creep in. The Wheel of Fortune here really speaks to this. So you've, again, made this leap. You've engaged in this thing, this new job, this new endeavor, this new business, this new hobby, whatever it is. And you've done it for a bit and you've experienced it, and you haven't seen the results that you wanted. Not only are you not getting the desired outcome, but the results seem ever changing. They don't seem stable and lasting to you. And so this is fueling some of that frustration, sort of that fiery thing within oneself. Again, the wands are the aspect of fire and passion and divine self, the spark of everything, the spark of you. This is something that I've struggled a lot with in my own life, where I begin a new career or whatever it is, and I'm all fired up for it. I've done all kinds of planning and thought and put effort and time and resources into it. I start doing it, and it doesn't work for me perfectly right away. There's struggles and complications with it, and I just give up. This has been a huge struggle and difficulty in my own life. I think that's a lot of what you're starting to experience here. I think if you sit with yourself a bit and really think about these feelings and frustrations, allowing them to flow through you a bit, trying to pull back from solving them logically, if you do that and you look inward more, I think you'll be able to start discerning a little bit. Okay, what parts of this are not working? It may not be. I don't sense, and Spirit wants you to know that this thing that you chose is the right thing for you. It just hasn't looked the way you thought it would. Maybe you had some unreasonable expectations. And so taking reflection here, looking inward, breathing a bit, is going to allow you to practice some discernment here. And that's what the Two of Wands is telling us, that some parts of this thing, some of the outcomes, if you are more honest and more detached about how you're looking at them and responding to them, you may find, hey, some of this is actually going pretty well. I am actually starting to, this seems like it could trend towards the things that I want and really working out. And also, these things, these are the parts of this that really aren't desirable and that could be better. But to be able to separate that a bit from the catastrophic thinking of, well, this is just an abject failure. There is actually some good things in here. What can I learn from those good things? What is working? And that'll allow you to focus on the things that aren't and actually improving them instead of just being frustrated. We have this underlying sense of stability. There is a stability here that exists in this. It just doesn't feel that way. It's not presenting itself to you in the obvious way. Three of Coins here, because it's the earth element, is the stabilizing force. And it is a reminder that stability does not necessarily mean things sort of being static. In other words, a certain outcome may emerge, a certain result may happen from your actions, And the thing that it creates, or the circumstances that it brings about, are not permanent. In other words, there can be and there is stability through the changing of things. And so there is stabilizing and earth grounded energy here. And to some extent, this is a call to you to ground into yourself some more, to help you do this reflection that we just spoke of. So maybe take a little time and step back from really trying to solve this thing or figure it out. Spend some time in nature, do those sorts of things, practices that have always helped you feel grounded, help you kind of let go of some of this frustration, and let that just get out for a bit. Step away from it for a little while. And that energy that you create within yourself will permeate its way into the results that you're seeing in your life, in this thing, in this job, or whatever endeavor it is. So, a grounding practice is key here. And you're actually a lot better at it than you realize. Through that, you will start to sort of let go of some of these expectations. And that's the other big piece of this. That grounding energy will allow you to practice a little bit of this discernment and sort of sorting out what is good and bad here. And I think you'll leave that situation with a pretty powerful realization that even though your expectations when you began this endeavor have not really shown up, or has not met those expectations, that it's really the expectations that you had that are creating the problem. If you let go of those things and treat this more like an adventure and an experience and lean into that, like the fool does at the beginning of their journey, well, that's going to lead you to a much greater fulfillment from this. It's going to allow you to improve the things that aren't great in this situation and take a lot of strength from the things that are. And so that's a really powerful lesson. That is a major step forward in your growth as a human being, beyond just your specific situation that this is arising in. And that's a lesson that hopefully you can carry forward into every aspect of your life. Our final choice this week is the Four of Cups. And you chose the Four of Cups because you may find yourself perhaps a bit obsessed with something, having a very strong emotional attachment to something that seems elusive in your life. That is to say, and I sense this is probably more of a romance and relationship thing, given the nature of the cups. So maybe there's someone in your life that you're pursuing, and for whatever reason, it seems like they're not reciprocating. You have a bit of an obsession going on here, a big sort of crush on someone, if you will, and you're just not getting anywhere with it. And you're experiencing some frustration and really maybe some questioning of your own value as a human being. This may be hitting on some pretty deep negative emotions and reactions in your life here. So you've got kind of this obsessive thing going on for this other person. And in your experience, the way this has sort of begun and played out is this is somebody who did sort of come charging into your life in a way. So very much this person is the Knight of Cups. And so maybe when you first met this person, you first interacted with them, it seemed like there was a big spark there, that you really sort of hit it off in a way. And it was almost magical. It really was like this magical feeling, this wonderful thing. And it seemed like this is a person that you were going to continue to evolve in some sort of relationship with. So they came charging into your life, and yet also equally as fast, just as quickly as they charged in, things then seemed to cool off also pretty quickly. So maybe you went on a couple of dates or spent a little bit of time together or had a whole bunch of texting back and forth, and it really seemed to be going well and you really seemed to be into each other. And then quite suddenly, things just sort of cooled off. Maybe they stopped responding to you quickly. Maybe they didn't want to go out on a third date, or they've been kind of giving you the runaround about something like that, or having your next encounter, whatever it might be. And this has really caused you to have some pretty intense feelings of unworthiness, of questioning yourself, questioning your beauty, questioning your likability, questioning, well, again, going back to sort of worthiness, questioning whether you are meant to have meaningful relationships in general. And all that sort of deeper, darker stuff is brewing and welling about within you. These are some of the more negative or challenging parts of the Queen of Cups energy here. The Queen is someone, she's very much in touch with and attuned to her emotional self and her intuition, and she is very introspective. But there is a darkness there that can befall us when we get into these obsessive type things. We see more of the grounding force of Pentacles here. And this is something that is mostly internal to you. So even though you were experiencing this very sort of fast moving relationship that seemed amazing in the beginning, and you were just totally sucked into it. And even though it seems like it is the other person who is sort of putting the brakes on here and slowing things down or pulling back, what that really is a reflection of your own need to perhaps slow down with this a bit. And this is your divine self acting in your best interest, the universe looking out for you, because the universe knows about this Queen of Cups energy that you possess. And it sees how moving too quickly can lead to very unstable and undesirable things for you. Maybe you've had some other relationships in the past where things happen very quickly. Maybe this is a common pattern in the relationships you've been in, where things happen very fast. They seem amazing in the beginning, and then very quickly they go cold, or things really just go off the rails. And so this is the universe's way of teaching you to slow down a bit and be a little more mindful of how things progress, and maybe not trying to be the person to move things along as much, to let go of that a bit and let these relationships, whichever one you're in at any given time, or multiple relationships even, let them progress in a more natural way, instead of always being the person who has to push things forward, always being the person who has to call and be like, hey, let's go out again. Hey, let's do this. Let's plan this. I think you bring a lot of that of yourself into a relationship. And so then it does result in these sort of hot and cold type things. So again, much like with our second reading, there is this sense of grounding here and spending time in nature. And yet here we see that grounding practice looking like really just moving slower more than really putting a full halt on things. So maybe just give this person a little time before you reach out to them again, even a few days. If you've been just kind of obsessively texting and messaging, oh, when are they going to get back to me? Stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. Stop trying to just get a response from them. Give it a little time. And I think what will emerge from this is the good things will come to you, is that this thing is actually in motion, even though it feels like it's ceased or it's stuck. And whether this current relationship is meant to come to an end or it is meant to continue, regardless of which way that happens, whatever does happen, if you approach it from a space of allowing, the thing that does happen will be a good thing for you. It will not be another failed relationship. So if you pull back from this, and then the other person does start speaking to you again, or they start wanting to move forward more, then that's what's supposed to happen, and it's going to be a good thing for you. It means that this relationship will be a good one as long as you give it that space. If you give it that space and this thing just sort of peters out, you don't really hear from them again, or you do and they're just like, hey, I'm just not feeling it, I don't really want to go out with you anymore. And hopefully they're kinder about that. But even if they're not, if that's what happens, then know that that is the best thing to happen, as awful as it might feel in the moment. And know that the good relationship that you're seeking is on its way to you. It's just not this one. And so hopefully that gives you some strong guidance to move forward this week. And ultimately, that concludes our pick a card reading for this week. I really hope these messages have clicked with you. Please leave me a comment and let me know what has worked and not worked for you. And most importantly, if you'd like to explore any of these things further, I offer a free personalized mini reading written just for you, delivered directly to your email, and again, at no cost. You simply have to sign up for my email newsletter, and the links to do so are in the description to this video and or in the comments, depending on exactly what platform you're watching. So I hope you have a wonderful and beautiful week, and I love you all. Take care.